garden. But we have time, so let me invite you to the Naksanje. It won't take more than 5 minutes, so you can come back here to go to the secret garden after the tour of the Naksanje. Well, here you can have a full view of the Naksanje. The eastern part is originally set aside for a crown prince. But now only you can see some pavilions that was used by a crown prince as a study room. The meeting house was all gone, no place. Only you can see the pavilion. And this building occupies 10% of the whole building area. So quite a large building. It is composed of 3 houses. The gate means you enjoy all the good pleasures to the full for a long time. 장낭문. Why don't you have a seat here for 5 minutes only? First come, first serve basis. We're lucky to have a big cool upper part. The wooden floor is really good. Why don't it is solid. It is solid enough. It's not dangerous. They built on a solid foundation. It's not twisted. So this building was built in 1847 by a king. Why? In time for the arrival of a concubine, whom the king fell in love at first sight during the time of selection of a king. So this concubine named Gyeongbin Kim, she could have been a queen. However, she was turned down. She was rejected by the main judge, who was not the king himself, but the king's grandmother and mother. So unfortunately, the lady Kim came back home, and the other lady was elected by the main judge as a queen. However, during the 3 years of marriage, there was no baby. I don't know. It is on purpose or natural. So the king asked his mother and grandmother to get a concubine. And for the concubine selection, this same lady, Gyeongbin Kim, came back to the stage of final selection. Normally, the lady who could have been a king was not accepted by an ordinary man as a wife. So she supposed to lead a single life for the rest of her life. And luckily, she came back to the stage, and at this time, she was accepted by the main judge, and she was selected as a concubine. And for her arrival, to welcome her to the palace, king built this house. It is composed of 3 sections. This building, as like the Gyeongdang and Daejeong kings and queen's living quarters, it is separated, male area and female area. So this male area is to the king. So here, king can enjoy reading and doing all the calligraphy. He had a particularly interested in calligraphy. And the main building inside, that is built for his concubine, Gyeongbin Kim, sleeping room. And far inside, the far end of this building, the 3rd building was arranged for the king's grandmother, the main judge. Well, unfortunately, Just 1 year after the completion of this building, King passed away. So can't have everything in life. So King passed away, and there was no baby between the King and the Lady Kim. And the Lady Kim was moved out of this palace after the King passed away. And she lived a long life until 77 outside the palace. Now, this palace, this building was built not like one of those palace buildings. It is built as a private space. So it is modeled after the house of noble class who lives outside the palace. And it contains this peaceful, silent area contains the lonely life of the last royal family. 100 years later, this space was used by the last royal family, who had been forced to go to Japan, was forcibly taken to Japan, and lived until the liberation. But the first government, after the liberation of Korea, did not welcome them back until 1963. The last royal family were composed of the half-brothers and half-sister of the last king. As the last king didn't have a baby, there is no direct descendant. Only he has half-brother and half-sister. They were Tae princess and Yeongwang, the crown prince. And they returned in 1963, and they lived until 1989. However, mostly were not in good shape. Had a mental illness after being tortured mentally. So the half-sister who lived at the farm, she also had a mental illness. And the daughter had a suicide. So very sad, miserable life. After their departure in 1989, coincidentally, the princess, the wife of the last crown prince, who is Japanese, but eventually converted to Korean nationality, the lady Lee Bang-ja lady, and another half-sister who lived until the same year, 1989, and left, passed away with a 10 days gap. Only gap of 10 days difference. So there's a sad ending story. After their departure, 3 years mourning period, and from 1991 there was a restoration project started, and 1996 it was open to the general public. That was my end of introduction. So we will go ahead to the secret garden. Who has the tickets to the secret garden? Okay.